Friends, this side Rahul Magan here is the Chief Executive Officer of Treasury Consulting LLP, and today we would be covering a very diversified topic which pertains to our fraud chapter. As you very well understand that Treasury Consulting LLP is a $5 million valuation company, and we have a lot of business domains like fraud, forensics, analytics, cyber security, and so on and so forth. This time we are covering a video which talks about the capabilities of our fraud chapter, and one of the capabilities of the fraud chapter is to conduct forensic audits. Now today I would like to initiate a new initiative basically which being conducting by Treasury Consulting LLP. That you have saw a lot of videos on our YouTube channel about foreign exchange, treasury, risk management, treasury management systems, and there are multiple videos pertaining to that. But now we would be launching up a video which would talk solely about forensic audits. Now, before starting this video, I would like to clear something about the forensic audit. Of course, as you very well understand that there is a big difference between forensic audit and statutory audit. There is a concept called materiality. That materiality concept which we have in in statutory audit, but we do not have in forensic audit. So take an example, and before starting, whatever names which we are quoting, these names are only for the sake of example. Treasury Consulting LLP during the names have no intention to dilute the reputation of any company. Neither we have any intent to put somebody's name here. These names are only because these names are in the public domain. And this is only for the sake of example. But we have no intention to dilute anybody's name. We have no intention as a company, as an individual. We have no intention to point out to any company, any individual. It is up to the code of law, a respective judiciary who will take up a call, who is right, who is wrong. Our videos, especially pertaining to forensic audit, are only for the sake of example. As simple as that. We have no intent to go against anybody, to put somebody's name and so on and so forth. It is only for the sake of example. Before initiating the video, let me tell you something about forensic audit. Basically, what is exactly happening in India as far as the forensic audit is concerned. As you very well understand that I am a director of 2 forensic forums in India, and we do have our own fraud chapter whereby we are doing a lot of work about a lot of trainings on forensics, fraud, forensics, investigations. In fact, now we have started doing with the, with a lot of statutory organizations also, sovereign organizations also, and we are working on a lot of projects. But during these meetings, there are a lot of meetings which are happening in India. If something is happening, then 10 meetings will happen, then something will happen. This is how India behaves, unlike Singapore, where in one meeting happen and 10 things happen. So what it happened that during this meeting, I found out that you will meet up with so many people, those who are too theoretical in nature. According to me, forensic audit is not about theory. Forensic audit is all about materiality. But this is not a statutory concept, or this is not a word which we have taken from dictionary. This is something which we have to be very, very practical in nature. If a person is not a practical person, then take me in writing this so-called statutory concept is impossible. It is practically next to impossible. Second thing which I found out in the forensic audit as far as the meetings in India is concerned, because you understand that Treasury Consulting LLP is setting up shop in Singapore, subsidiary in Singapore next year, and hopefully by end of January it would be it would be live, right? What something is happening here, in such meeting is that we seriously don't want to talk about IT. IT is not income tax, IT is information technology. We don't want to talk about IT. On the contrary, as a country, we believe that this is an IT nation. As a country, we are doing this, that, we have XTCS, we have Infi, and so on so. But when it comes to forensic audit, we don't talk about IT. And in IT application, we don't talk about treasury management systems. We don't talk about ERP, enterprise resource planning. We don't talk about human resource system. We don't talk about accounting systems, especially FICO and all. The majority of the forensic audits which is happening in India, they are revolving around the books. And of course, this is not the only video. This is the start of the video. A lot of videos would be coming in that regards. Majority of the forensic audits in India is around the books. What do you mean by around the books? In the sense like you have a book, could be P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, would be all of them, which technically known as financials. We would be revolving around that. Our perception is that 99.99% of the frauds are happening using IT. You go with a lot of names that has happened. Like, I'll give you a few names about AIG, which has happened, although there is no forensic audit being conducting on AIG in 2008. You take any bank in 2008, and when the financial system melted down, you take Lehman Brothers, you take AIG, you take BS Trust, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, you take any bank, it's up to you. The way they manipulated their treasury management system is something which we should talk it about. Because after all, these banks are not maintaining Excel like we have in Indian corporate. So somebody is sending Excel and somebody receiving Excel, then he's resending the Excel to somebody. The crux of 2008 financial crisis, and of course the wrong use of the derivatives, I'm not denying that, being a treasury person, but the biggest crux is as simple as that. Huge amount of manipulation has happened in the treasury management system. Even after roughly 9 years of that financial meltdown, there is nothing conclusive which have resulted. Take one more simple example. The example which has recently been happened as far as the non-performing assets in India is concerned. There are a lot of forensic audits being happened. A lot of chartered accountant firms are doing the forensic audit. I don't want to quote the name. I don't want to talk about any pricing what they are getting and so on and so forth. But are we talking about IT? Let's take an example. I'll tell you that you have 60 shell companies, and all these 60 shell companies, you have 60 PAN numbers, assuming fake. And out of these 60 PAN numbers, you have say 100 directors, and you have say 100 accounts. The funds are being siphoned from one account to another, second account to another, and so on and so forth. Using a system, can you please let me know that whether this is a shell company or not a shell company? What exactly these CA firms are doing in this forensic audit? They are just revolving around the book. P&L, cash flow, balance sheet, and max to max segment reporting. You will get nothing concrete out of that. Nothing concrete out of that. Take me in writing. The reason being, we seriously need to understand that forensic audit is all about IT. If we are trying to ignore IT, I'm sorry, forensic audit cannot happen. And similarly in IT, I'm talking about IT audits, which is information technology audits. Here is the start of our video. This was a little background about the forensic audit. Now, when a forensic audit conducts, there is an auditee and there is an auditor. Auditee is 99% a corporate. A corporate in the sense like it could be Kingfisher, it could be Unitac, it could be Bhushan Steel. I'm telling few names, which are regularly coming in the media. It could be Videocon, it could be, list is endless. Unfortunately, this is the order of sequence which is happening. One thing which I deliberately not mentioned. What an auditor generally do, he will talk about account receivables, account payables, taxation, banking transaction, non-performing asset, and nobody talk about STR, which is suspicious transaction reporting. The example which I gave you, suppose take an example, you are a corporate without quoting the name, and you have 60 shell companies which you deliberately created. And of these 60 shell companies, it's very easy to get a PAN number in India. You know that. Even the company is shell or not, is perfectly easy to get a PAN number in India. Out of these 60 shell companies, you have siphoned money from one account to another account to another. You just revolving the money. Now the purpose of the story is, can you, as an auditor, let me know that how to take STR from the system. STR stands at suspicious transaction reporting. 99.99% forensic audit which is happening in Asia Pacific, excluding Singapore, is happening on using manual STR. And what is manual STR? You will take all the bank statements. You take a pencil or a pen. You do tick 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 tick, and this is how it is happening. Not a single firm which I know have an online mechanism or a system which talks about online STR. Not a single firm which I have. When we talk about the banking transactions and NPA, which is non-performing asset, because as per Reserve Bank of India, we have approximately 8.5 trillion INR as a non-performing asset. But technically speaking, I think this number is pretty wrong. This number is at least understated by 50%. The amount is 50% higher. But nonetheless, when we talk about banking transaction and NPA, we need to understand that very clearly that boss, here you need STR, that to system base. Now, these are the important things that we need to consider it seriously. Before moving further, let me tell you a mistake which people are doing in the forensic audit, which I often get to know. Recently, we being invited in some corporate for a forensic audit, and that corporate was having, well, basically this corporate was, they are on Ramco actually. What had happened, they are having an auditor is Big Four, without quoting the name of that company and also the auditor. Now what exactly had happened that when the forensic audit happened, that auditor should have stayed away. If you are a forensic auditor, straight away you should take the control of the IT. You should take the control of Ramco. Now at place of Ramco, you could have SAP, you could have Oracle, you could have JD Edward, or you could have any treasury management system. It could be SAP, it could be Oracle, it could be others. There are multiple. Generally, Indian companies are SAP and Oracle, right? Because other TMS are a little on a higher side, right? Now, SAP is not a word. There are multiple ways. You have SAP Bank Equalizer, you have Oracle Hyperion, you have SAP FICO. 99.99% forensic auditors are not taking the control of IT system initially, and they let people to give them the data, and they're wasting for 2 or 3 months. They wasted 2 or 3 months. Let the auditee give us the data. We will make something, and once we'll make something, we will share with the auditee. Auditee will reply, and if they don't reply, then we'll take the control of the data. And majority of the times, what something is happening is an issue as far as the ERP is concerned and TMS is concerned. ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning, TMS is Treasury Management System, is the actual location. Nowadays, the days are bygone when the corporate used to have a server which is centrally located. So you have a company which is like, take an example, Videocon, Kingfisher, Bhushan Steel. You have a company wherein you have one server, and this server is controlling everything. Now, as far as the location is concerned, what exactly is happening? We have system like, we have physical servers and we have cloud. And what is happening is that people are creating placeholders. That will tell you later how to create a placeholder. What exactly corporates are doing, especially Oddity. Oddity know that a person is doing a forensic audit. Oddity will waste the auditor times at least 2 to 3 months. In the meantime, we will deploy the people like us to create a placeholder. What we do, we change the existing system with a replica. So it's just like a mirror image. I might be looking like this, but the way you look me would be far different what I'm actually looking at. This is known as placeholder. Maybe in the upcoming videos we will talk about placeholder. What these people do, you have an actual system, you have actual server in the cloud. We will do in such a way that we will create a placeholder. Now, the financial statements which you actually look is not the actual financial statement what you wanted to see. The actual financial statement are far different from what you wanted to see. And this only happens, the reason being, you have not taken a control at a very first day. And the biggest reason why the auditors are not taking the control from Oddity, in 99.99% cases, the auditor himself do not have a technical skill set as far as SAP, Oracle, Ramco, JD Edwards and Treasury Management System is concerned. When we talk about banks, say there are a lot of forensic audit in India which is happening on banks also. Unfortunately, Indian banks do not have a treasury management system, but strictly speaking, they have a makeshift arrangement which they termed as a treasury management system. Like 50% of the work is happening on Excel and some Finacle kind of system. So there is nothing technical about it. What is the reason? That it's pretty easy to create a placeholder in treasury management system. Pretty easy. It is SAP, Oracle, or maybe others without quoting the name of them. Auditor needs to understand that we are living in 2017 when a company would be creating a placeholder. And what is the placeholder? This is the placeholder. You have actually this system. It could be physical location or cloud. What we do, we will create a system which will tell it as a placeholder. In this system, the actual entry is of $1,000, but you will see actual entry of 800, which an auditee will tell us to do. So auditee will tell us that you need to create a placeholder wherein the actual entry of 1000 should be replicated as 800, and that we will do. Of course, there are a lot of things which we need to do in the placeholder. We have reciprocal trade finance transactions. I know that 99% of the people even do not know what reciprocal trade finance transactions are happening. I don't know, because the skill set is always an issue. In a nutshell, there are few tips which you should have as far as the forensic audit is concerned. And in this tip, you should take over the ERP control as well as TMS control from auditing. There are multiple companies who believes in acquisitions, like without quoting the name, there are a lot of companies who are currently into the code of law. They did a lot of acquisitions, and one of the companies, a well-known company, and don't want to mention the name, they are still in forensic audit and they are doing huge acquisitions in Australia. Acquisition accounting play a very important role, and it's very easy to play with acquisition accounting. Whether it is IFRS, US GAAP, IND-AS is nothing. Whether it is IFRS or US GAAP, playing with the acquisition accounting is pretty simple. Third is the risk management policy. It's a duty of the auditor to first seize the risk management policy. He first need to configure that, boss, this was the risk management policy. And when I'm talking about the risk management policy, I'm not talking about the risk management policy from Companies Act 2013 point of view, which is section 134 subsection 4. I'm talking about a risk management policy which has been approved by the board and which is followed by the BUs. BU means business unit. Every company would have multiple business unit, and each business unit would have a risk management policy. This risk management policy is being approved by the board. So as an auditor, you should first seize that. Then you should take care of the business combinations. Here the accounting play a very important role, because we have acquisition accounting, we have indifference accounting, we have different kind of accountings, and of course a lot of videos would be coming in that regard. Then we have foreign exchange policies, like how to create a translation, how to create a revaluation. There are so many things which you're supposed to do. Last but not the least, accounting standards play a very important role. Here I would be supporting the corporate, and it's the last point. Majority of the transactions being termed as suspicious by the auditor are actually not suspicious. Take an example of IFRS versus IND-AS, IFRS versus US GAAP. IFRS have a different way of looking as far as the cash flow statement is concerned. US GAAP have a different way of looking as far as the cash flow statement is concerned. Both are actually not right, both are actually not wrong. If a company would be making a consolidation in IFRS, also they are making a local book in US GAAP. So take an example, just for the sake of example, say Microsoft. Microsoft is consolidating US GAAP and they are also making one financial in IFRS. The cash flow statement would surely be differ. The way IFRS look at operating and financing expenses, it's not what US GAAP look at. As an auditor, it's not right that you always criticize the auditing, because here I am with auditing. As an auditor, you should clearly understand that being accounting standards, there are different accounting standards across the globe, and different accounting standards have different perspective. And since different accounting standards have different perspective, so things would surely be differ. This is how it is. Forensic audit is something which starts from here. Information technology play a very important role. Your SAP, your treasury management system, they play a very active role. As an auditor, you need to understand that how to deal with that. We are living in 2017 when the corporates are forced to create placeholders, and they're actually doing it. And I don't think there is nothing wrong in that, because by the time we know that auditor is not a technical person, so we surely be creating a placeholder. It's very easy to create placeholder in SAP, Oracle and Ramco, and JD Edwards. I don't think it's pretty tough. Manipulating treasury management system is, again, I don't think it's very difficult. Either it could be SAP, Oracle, or maybe different, without quoting the name. This is all about treasury management. This is all about forensic audits. At the end, Treasury Consulting LLP is having a dedicated fraud chapter. Our membership are always open, and we are very technical in nature. We are providing a lot of fraud, forensics and investigation services across the globe. Cybersecurity is one of them. If you wanted to be a member, you're most welcome to contact us. www.treasuryconsulting.in. I don't know how long this website will hold true, because we are amending this website. Our mobile number is 9899242978, while my Skype ID is Rahul5327. And my our fixed income line, because you know that we started with the KPO, which is 911140199774. And my email is rahul.magan@treasuryconsulting.in. At the end, we thank you very much, And in case of any query, please do contact us, but with due respect, we do not entertain free queries. There is nothing complimentary which we are doing here. So if you are writing us an email, or if you are calling us that you are doing some forensic audit, you need some services on complimentary basis, do not call us. But if you want us to be a partner, we're a very, very technical company, a lot of things would be coming in terms of video, you are welcome to call us. We don't entertain complimentary calls because we are getting a lot every day. Thank you very much and have a